Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I am getting ready for the day. Good morning, Greg. How are you? Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Yes. Okay, it's Wednesday. How is everybody? Good morning. Hello, Steph. I was going to. Oh, where did I go? Good morning. How are you? How are you? I am hopping down here to grab my coffee. I had to go wrangle my kids out of bed. I got this amazing new coffee that is so good. It's from Bedre, which is the Chickasaw Nation indigenous chocolate factory here in Oklahoma. It's so good. It is so good. So I'll have to get the bag so I can show you guys. We're field tripping it because I am still in the process of getting. I'm going to get a second cup of coffee this morning. Hello, Miss Lisa. My poor puppy is still limping. I think, I've got dog hair in my mouth. Yes, always. When you have two dogs with the heavy shedder gene, it's good times. But I think it's just growing pains, Lisa. I think honestly, it is just because she's growing really fast. Like when I got her, she was born September 4th, and I got her in October, and she was 6 pounds. I would say she has quadrupled in size. I think she's just went through massive growth because she had worms and all those things like when I got her. And I think now that we got her healthy, like she's like her body is just making up for lost time. And so she's a big girl these days, and she's long-legged. Like we were told I'll be doing the DNA test on her just like I did with our precious Georgia. She was a German short-haired pointer. Hi, Mama Sue. So she's being a good girl. She's not quite as active as she is, but she'll run around play. She's not being aggressive. She's not, being grumpy. She's not, she's still letting us hold her and touch her and all those things. So I think she'll be okay. We're going to give it a couple of days. And if she is still hobbling around, hold on. You guys are going to have to, I guess, look at my dirty ceiling for just a minute. Hold on. Sorry. Welcome to this professional thing. Okay. My tripod wasn't, there it goes. It wasn't magnetizing. I was like, what is happening here? So thank you for those likes. Y'all are the best. I know the algorithm does like when people do when they are tap dancing and all of those things. I found. Okay, can y'all sit in my sink with me? Okay, listen, don't look at it because this is the children's bathroom and it's kind of messy. Kind of by a lot messy. Okay, we're going to just do that for just a minute while we put on our eye mask. Found our eye mask today. Good morning, Zoe. Good morning. Is it Kelly? Oh, Keith. We need eye masks today. I've got to order more eye masks. I wear the red aspen ones, but I also really like the Dr. Meloxin eye masks. Is that but they are on back order. So I ordered them like at the end of the year, and they're still on back order. And it's probably going to be the end of the month before they're actually here, which is kind of a bummer because those Dr. Meloxin ones, but I do really like, Red Aspen came out with a new eye mask. It's called a silver foil eye mask. And I had bought a few of them when they first came out because they were discounted. And I was like, I'm just going to try them, you know. Is it just a bunch of razzle dazzle? With Red Aspen, in all fairness, it usually isn't. Like they really are very clean and intentional about the products that they put. But I'm like, is it just a bunch of, you know, razzle dazzle with the silver on the outside to make them look cute and everything? But I struggle genetically with naturally darker circles under my eyes. Okay, hi, Miss Poppy. Are you want Mama to hold you? Come here. I'll hold you. Come here, baby. My puppy wants me to hold her. Come here. You want Mommy to hold you? Come here. I'll hold you. Come here. Mommy carry you. Come here. Come here. I got you. Okay. Okay. I don't know that I can even lift you anymore. You're so big. Okay. When I say she's no longer 6 pounds, I mean, okay. So she's grown a lot, huh, baby? Oh, my sweet girl. This is Poppy Sue. She is the sweetest. Horse is the sweetest. He's a sweet baby. Yeah, come here. Mama hold you. Come here. I'll hold you. You can't have Mama's coffee. I know you smell it. She is very long-legged. Good morning, Bianca. Hers is a good baby. She's not normally, because she's in such a puppy mode, she isn't normally this agreeable, if you will. I'll take all the snuggles I can get right now. Yeah, hers is good girl. But yeah, this is Miss Poppy. We love her. We love Poppy too. Are you not feeling 100% still? Yeah, okay. You want Mama's stuff? Do you want down, or you want to go? You want to get down? Okay, no, she just wants me to hold her. Good morning, Miss Judy. How are you? How are you feeling today? Miss Judy, are you still in Vegas? How is your world? You good girl, Poppy. You want to get down? Okay, let me help you. There we go. There we go. There goes. Sorry, she's very needy this morning. I've got my lobster headband on because we're a professional around these parts. Really, it's the only one I could find, if I'm honest. Let me grab that coffee that I got from the Chickasaw Nation to show you. I just got a sample bag of it because I wasn't sure if I would like it. I'm usually like a blonde roast person, but this was the Okalosa. They call it black, which means black water in the Chickasaw language. It is the dark chocolate decadence ground coffee. And so we just got like the little sampler bag of it. Ooh, there we go. I was like, hey, we all need a V8. But Bedre chocolate is an indigenous chocolate factory here in Oklahoma, and it's down in Davis, Oklahoma. So it's like right in the south central part as you're heading to Texas. It says, if you're passionate about our coffee roasters start with the very best high-grown, hand-picked 100% Arabica beans. Our coffee flavors are curated to create an incredible cup of coffee. Choose Bedre Dark Chocolate Decadence, ground or whole bean, with a satisfying and cozy flavor note of dark chocolate. I will tell you, when you open it up, it smells like dark chocolate. Like, it's really amazing. And I'm not usually like a flavored coffee person. Hi, Veronica, welcome in. They're perfect for whatever brewing method you choose. Drip, pour over, espresso, French roast, or using to create a coffee-infused cocktail. Simple brewing directions. Measure either 16 grams of water for every gram of coffee, or use 2 tablespoons. They did it in both metric. Good morning, Miss Kayla. So yeah, I got that this weekend from the Chickasaw Nation. So y'all are gonna hang out with me while I am logging in to the work. So it is Wednesday. So with my kiddos that check in with me, they pick a day that they like. Wednesday and Thursdays are my largest days. So, but yesterday was large for me because since we didn't have school on Monday, I reach out to my Monday kids. Hi, Tanza, welcome in. I reach out to my Monday kids when we have a Monday that's not in, just to make sure they're doing okay. I know like each week I go in for every one of my students and I see, and I make notes in a spreadsheet, like what their grade is at the beginning of the week and then what their grade is at the end of the week. Because just seeing that one number, it lets me know, like, are they doing the weekly work and things like that. So, it's an adventure. But I feel like it took me a little bit, like my school does trimesters, and it took me, because we changed platforms and we changed what we call pathways. Good morning, Valerie. We changed pathways for our students, and with an alternative ed school, our students have, they can choose their, hi Ellie, good morning. Hi Michelle. They can choose their learning pathway, which is basically their method of going to classes. So our school is alternative education. That means, and a lot of times when somebody hears something about alt ed or alternative education, you think, oh, that's where the bad kids are put, right? Those kids that get in fights and those kids, but it's not. So we are 100% virtual. And I think what the world kind of learned post 2020 is that education looks different for each student. And I think that that's really important. We are a public school, so we accept everyone. Getting ready. Oh, okay. We accept everybody. We don't have, but for alternative ed, there needs to be a reason for them to be in alternative ed. So it could be that they were bullied in traditional school. It could be that they were behind. It could be that they experienced what they would fall under the McKinney-Vento Act, which is a law nationally or federally that protects students experiencing some type of housing instability, whether that is being fully unhoused, living in shelters, living with extended family members, couch surfing, as we used to call it in the 90s. And so, things like that. And that's what alternative ed is for, right? It is for the student that, oh, Ellie, thank you so much. I'm just here on a Wednesday with a lobster on my head because that's the kind of the morning that we're having. But I love alternative ed. I cannot honestly imagine being anywhere else. And I know, like, the people I grew up with, they look at me and they go, but you were a straight A honors student. Like, what do you know about alternative ed? Well, on the surface, it would look like I knew nothing because I was a straight A honors student. But oftentimes the misconception about alternative ed is that the kids are troublemakers and they're not intelligent. You did. I love that, Lisa. That they are not intelligent. They don't want to be successful. They're the disruptors in the classroom, all of these things. I would have qualified as an alt ed kid. And I was extremely well in school, but I was also, we struggled with poverty and food insecurity and housing insecurity and all of these other disruptors. And what alternative ed offers is an opportunity for students that the cards they've been dealt are not on an equal playing field, whether it's extreme poverty or whatever. When you fall under alternative ed, and especially under the McKinney-Vento Act, we as a school can help in. Like, our school is 100% virtual. With alt ed, they get a laptop sent to them. If they cannot afford internet at their house, they are sent what's it called? They're sent this thing. That's real helpful, isn't it? No, they're sent a hotspot so that they can school. Because I will always say that an education is one of the most valuable things that you can have. And it's not that you can check all the boxes that I had biology and I had algebra and all these things. But like I've always told my students, an education is the one thing that no one can ever take away from you. They can take your, oh, I have a flash goal, bliss. What do they want me to do? An ice cream cone. Okay, 3 gifters to send an ice cream cone. I don't know. Send it if you want. They could unalive you. They could take your house. They could take your job. They could take all of your possessions. They cannot take what you know and what you've learned. And so for me, I just feel that there is so much empowerment. And what I love about my school is I get to have the privilege of when these students walk in the door feeling defeated and never being told that they can do it or that they're capable or that they're successful. And it takes a while, right? It's kind of like, Lisa, I know you would get this. It's kind of like when you work this, and I am not, okay, I'm going to preface this. I am not comparing our students to animals, okay? Because I know that'll go out there. I'll find me on Reddit doing something like that. When you work with rescue animals, when they have been in an abuse situation or a neglect situation or just a hard life situation, it can take some time for them to trust a new human. It can take some time for them to be willing to eat food around other dogs. Like it takes that time and it takes that patience. Hello, Frenchie, welcome in. Students are no different. When students come from a trauma background and have what we call a higher ACE score, it takes some time. You cannot, as the teacher, walk in there and just expect people to turn in every assignment, turn in all the things, do all the stuff, right? You don't get to walk into a classroom and say, this is my classroom, here is my syllabus, here are the rules, and you're going to follow them. Good luck with that. That doesn't even really work in a traditional classroom, and it's not going to work in an alternative ed classroom. So I really try to be trauma informed. I try to really practice what I would have needed for a teacher. They do. It's big, isn't it? So, it's one of those things where I love that moment where the students are like, cause you can feel almost the anxiety when they email you, right? Like I had a student who they'd really done nothing. And, we were like halfway through the semester and, they email me, I'm so sorry. I know I haven't done it. Like they're taking all the accountability, which is great. Like I take ownership of your choices. And I just write back with, it's okay. Life happens. Let's work together. I'm not here to judge you. And so I tell my students that our science community space, because I don't use the word classroom. I was like, but you're a teacher. I am, but I call it a science community because phrasing, I said, you have to almost be like a PR manager with alternative ed. Phrasing matters. The vocabulary you're using matters. A lot of these students, when you say class or classroom, they're automatically remembering, I was bullied in my algebra class. I wasn't successful. I had a mean English teacher. There's this plethora of negative correlation to a classroom. So hello, Fair, welcome in. Hi, Christine. So I call it a science community, just like I don't say parent-teacher conferences. I'll either just say conferences, which is not my preferred, but oftentimes, especially in alt ed, I have students who are emancipated. I have students that are over the age of 18. I have students that are in the foster care system. I have students who they are in a group living situation because they were trafficked and rescued out of trafficking. I have students who live with extended family or whatever. And so when you call it a parent-teacher conference, you're already making them feel excluded if it's not if the adult that's going to show up isn't their parent. So I typically will kind of push back against that. I feel like it's an antiquated vocabulary. And so what I call it, thank you. I call it, it's our community, it's our once a term community gathering. And I explain to the students, hi Tasha, I explain to the students that the adults that are helping them, whether that's a cousin, an older sibling, an aunt, a neighbor, whoever it may be, the administrators, the teachers, and them, because they have ownership in what they're learning and how active they are, and if they are doing this, that is our community. That is their individualized teammates to help them. And I start out the term and explain to them, because in high school is really when kids first start to experience other adults that aren't in that parentified role. So I have to sometimes tell them, you do not have to come in and give me a list of 87 excuses like you would a parent or a caregiver for why you didn't do something. Because let's be honest, when we have a job, you don't go in and be like, I know I didn't get the thing done, but I had this and this and this. There is no, the dog ate my homework in the real world. Like, it just doesn't fly, right? So what I tell my students is that our learning community is, there's no judgment, but that also comes with no excuses. So the other side of that no judgment coin is there's no excuses. So it's simply, I'm behind. Okay, what do you need from me as your support person to help you get back? And I've had kids say, I'm just overwhelmed because I've got this task. And I fully understand that as somebody with ADHD, to have that executive dysfunction where it's like you almost shut down and get into panic. And so for me, I tell them, okay, do you need me? First of all, don't look at everything, right? We're going to open up our grade book and we're going to start at the top. And the first time you see a 0, we're going to stop there. We're not going to look at everything else. And I give them the example of, I always hated, because I had to walk really far to the bus when I was a kid. And I was a little bit of a chubby kid. So I hated walking, and I hated walking uphill. But what I learned was, if I constantly looked at that hill that I had to climb, it felt like I was never reaching the top of it. Whereas, hi, Anna Banana, if I looked at my feet and I just looked down while I was walking and looked one step at a time, before I knew it, I was at the top of the hill. So that's how I teach my students with life and their schoolwork or whatever. Stop looking at the big picture, because hello, Heaven. Good morning. Heaven, you would never believe it. My husband bought a Tesla. So I have missed you. Good morning, doll. Hi, Jess Marie. Sometimes they just need, that's okay. Sometimes they just need someone to help them figure out, how do you even begin to be successful at life? And so I tell them, you may have 85 things on your list that need to be done, but we're going to do the first one. Listen, it's what we found this morning, but I found my IMS, so we're winning. I'm getting logged in and doing my emails and all that stuff right now. But it is, these kids are amazing. They are gracious. They want to be successful. We learn to celebrate. Good morning, Coffee. We celebrate small wins, right? So I had a student who's like, I just cannot do this assignment. And I'm like, okay, let's have a conversation about it. They could tell me everything about it. They knew the topic. They could talk about it. They could answer questions about it. But the hiccup was, I don't know if I can do it in the form you originally assigned it. So I am a huge advocate for something that we call competency versus compliance. Especially in the alternative ed situation, we have students that compliance did not bring them a good life, right? Following the rules did not bring them a good life. It was not something that could be trusted. And so I always do competency versus compliance. And here's the thing, as a teacher, especially in alt ed, you have to take your ego and leave it at the door. Squeeze, rinse, repeat. Hello, good morning. Competency does matter, Lisa. You have to leave your personal ego at the door. It is not a personal offense to you if a student doesn't turn in a paper. They're not doing it to spite you. They're not doing it to be disrespectful. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be a failure. Nobody. I don't care if they scream it from the rooftops that they do. They are lying to you and themselves. No one wakes up and says, gee, I'd like to fail today. I would love for today to super suck. I would love to go to bed tonight feeling like I am tiny and I didn't accomplish anything. Nobody does that. But we do get to a point where we stop hoping to be successful. We do get to a point where we begin to accept that we won't be successful. We begin to believe all of the voices, right? All of the experiences. And so my goal is to walk with them hand in hand so that they are finding little micro things. You know, if they email me and they say, or they send me a text message on the school approved device, not my personal one. If they message me and they say, I know I haven't done anything and I know I've got 2 weeks left in this class and I don't know what to do. The first thing I start out on my email is, thank you for emailing me. You've taken the bravest first step in asking for help. So now let's work together. What time do you have available? So I'm giving them some breathing space there, not, well, you need to meet me at 3:00 tomorrow. I go, what time do you have available? Good morning, Miss Shauna. What time do you have open? Because then that gives them ownership, and it's also a built-in accountability. Because if they don't show up, I'll be like, but you chose this time. This was, 4:00 on Friday. I had a kid who, he works all the time. Like, he works 60 hours a week. He works more hours a week than I do. And we had winter break coming up and he needed to take some benchmarks, and our benchmarks have to be monitored. So they have to take them like being proctored on the computer, like in a live session with me as their homeroom teacher, all that kind of stuff. I met with him on a Sunday of the winter break. And we go, well, that's not one of your contract hours. Yep, but I met that kid where he was because I had two choices. That kid works 60 hours a week. I could either meet him on a Sunday when he is willing to do it on his day off, or I can just have to be like, well, we've tried to contact him and he can't fit into the 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Good morning, Peachy. So for me, I cannot imagine not teaching alternative ed. I truly love what I do. And I just love getting to feed into them. Am I exhausted from being a teacher because it's year 19 for me? Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting tired. And I think anyone who works in social services, which is what teaching is, it's very easy to find yourself pouring from an empty cup. Reds, welcome in, love. Stunning as always. I mean, I have red on my hair today, but it's completely artificial. It's just a lobster. So, that compassion fatigue, the caring for others, and the feedback I have gotten from my students over the years, good morning, Lovey, is that they say I'm tough, but I'm fair and I'm trustworthy. And to be told by a kid who has come from a background of trauma that I'm trustworthy, I don't need any other accolades in my career. I really try to do every decision that I make professionally is what is best for the students. Not what's easiest for me, not what's most convenient for me, what is best for the students. to reach out to my department head. Yeah. And that's really like, I have to talk to them sometimes and say, look, you know, and I have the same conversations with my own children because I have 2 adult children and I have one that's 14, and there are places here that she could go work. And I say, you know, listen, yes, we always want competency over compliance, but in the real world, when you have a job, you have to show up on time. You have to meet deadlines. You have to, like, you've got to learn those skills because you've got to be able to function in society at large. And let's be honest, society is real good if you fit in the box. If you don't fit the preconceived box, if you are, you know, good morning, Nicole, if you are neurodivergent, if you are a little bit quirky, if you're a very creative minded person, sometimes the world at large is not the kindest. It doesn't mean that you can't find success in it. And for some of us, we have to work a little harder to meet the constructs of the world. Or we can get exhausted expecting the world to change for us. You know, and so I love my students. I love them so much. And, you know, I reach out to every single student, and I don't hear back from all of them, but every single week I reach out to my students. Hi, Cindy Lou. I have 130 this trimester, and I make an email, a text message, or a phone call to every single one of them every single week. Or I meet them in a live classroom. So I have some type of attempted contact with every single one of my students every week. That's okay. I'm getting ready. I've got 10 minutes and then I'm headed out as well. So I do this. I'm at work at 8, but it's my check Teams, check emails, all of those kinds of things. And so, and then my students start having communications with me and stuff, usually about 8:45. So, but no, I truly love what I do. And, I love that more students are finding schools like this. Now, this is not the same as like school vouchers where you're taking public money and putting it in private schools. I'm not a proponent of that. We're seeing that here in Oklahoma in that with they called it a tax credit instead of a voucher. The majority of the people that are using that like $250 million of our state's budget were already sending their kids to private school. Like it's not being used in the way that it was sold on the floor of the legislative body. It's a very small percentage that actually transferred their kids from public school to the private schools using the vouchers. It's just families that were already, because in Oklahoma, they didn't put an income cap on being able to use it. Yeah, and so was that Red? Was that you? Okay. I teach for a company called Stride, which used to be called K-12, and in their commercials, they still do K-12. February 1st, I will have been with them for 10 years of my 19-year teaching career. And I love it. We are a 100% virtual charter school. And we love it. It's a public school. I'm required to have the same state certifications as any other teacher in my city in what we call a brick and mortar school. I've done both. And I love it. I love what I get to do. I have discovered, I was talking actually to Lisa last night on a phone call. I have really found a passion for curriculum mapping and pacing, especially in something that our school has that's really special is embedded courses, because a lot of times our kids come to us, they're missing credits in high school. We have embedded courses. So I take right now, this term, I'm teaching second semester biology and human anatomy simultaneously. So if little Johnny is enrolled, good morning, God's eyes. If little Johnny is enrolled in my biology course, at the end of it, if he's successful, he will also get credit for taking human anatomy. And the way that I do that is I take the complete human anatomy course and I insert it, just like genetically modifying food, I insert it into the biology class so that they're learning the things at the same time. And so they can earn credits back and graduate maybe what would have been on time, even though they maybe came in 2 years behind, so I have found that that is one of my great passions, is embedding those courses together. Like when it clicked for my brain, it became my super hyper focus. And there were like days where I was like a mad woman, like 3 a.m, crossing and going, I can put this lab here and that here. And it was like this giant puzzle. And I loved it. And I wish, even though I'm not an English teacher or math teacher, I haven't had the courage yet to tell my admin, I would love to take every embedded course across the school and help all of those teachers, really make it as seamless as I did with the anatomy and biology course. I talked to my department head, is also like my real life best friend. And I was talking to her about it, and she's like, you're really great at it. And that would be a great, and I'm like, I'm just scared to be like, hey, cause again, I bring my own trauma as a kid from trauma background, and it's hard for me still. I know, but here's the thing. That's what I was getting ready to say, Red. It's so hard for me because that is one of those things where the little trauma girl in me, hello, Captain Squishy, good morning. The little trauma girl in me, that super reaction to rejection is really hard for me. I recognize it and I'm like, okay, brace, we know it's going to happen, but it will cause a spiral. Like it will make it hard. And it's something that I work on, but it is one of those things where when I do propose something or I do have an idea, I promise you, I have ruminated on it. I have come up with 87 different rough drafts of it, all in my head, probably a paper notebook. And by the time I get it to where I will present it to somebody, I have looked at I'm exhausted from it. And I know it so well. And when they go, no, from it. And I know it so well. And when they go, no, from it. And I know it so well. And when they go, no, I'm just crushed. Right. So it's one of those things where I'm always like, I don't know. And she's like, you present it. Because like the other thing is like, I would love to be the teacher that does because I'm certified to teach all of the sciences that we offer at our school. We have something called a momentum pathway. These kids are 100% asynchronous. They have everything open from day one, and they can finish it as quickly as they want so that they can move on and get another set of classes in the same academic term. And yes, it's a deflator. Yeah. And I would love to kind of take that additional prep period off of my fellow department science teachers and just be the momentum teacher for the science department and see how that works. Because with your momentum kids, there's a lot more tracking and data tracking that has to be there because, you're trying to get them in and out, right? It's almost like a little bit of an extended play on like credit by examination. So they're not just coming in and taking one test to earn a credit or a CLEP exam. They're doing the class, but they can do it very quickly. And sometimes those kids need a little, they're like an old car on a cold morning. They need a little push start, which if you are not of a certain age, you don't understand why a car would need to be push started. Bless you. Back in the carburetor days, which you probably don't know what a carburetor is either. That's okay. We love you anyway. You had to push start cars. So, the push start of cars. Believe me, I know all about it. Again, grew up not wealthy. I wouldn't even say, I mean, I'm very rich, but not necessarily financially rich. I have an amazing life. I have amazing children, even if they don't always flush the toilet and they don't pick up after themselves, and they can be little sassy biscuits. They're amazing. I have 2 great dogs, and I get to wake up every day, whether I'm burnout or exhausted or not, and touch other human beings' lives in ways that I may never know what the impact was. And so my focus is always to speak life into them, to speak capability into them, to tell them how capable they are and that they can do hard things, and sound like a Hallmark card commercial while I'm talking to them, but also having those expectations and boundaries. But the thing is when my kids walk into my classroom on day 1, the first thing they're met with is every single week, every reading assignment, every lab, every assignment, it is all there from day 1, because being trauma informed, we don't like surprises as trauma people. They're scary. They usually don't go well for us. So having clear boundaries and clear expectations allows them to already kind of breathe a little bit. So I do the work. I do a lot of heavy lifting at the first, and that frees up a lot of space for me through the academic term to really focus my energy on making those connections with my students. I'm not constantly like, oh crap, I got to make my lesson plans for the week. Oh, I got to pace out the next 2 weeks, because we're only required to do 2 weeks at a time. Nope. I have the whole thing from day 1, because then they're like, I know oh, I have to go. I know I have my counselor sessions every Tuesday. So I see this is what the week looks like, or I know I'm going to be gone because I have to go stay at my dad's house in another state, or whatever. They can plan ahead. They can plan ahead, so they don't ever feel like they're, crap, I'm so in trouble. They also have 24-hour access to their coursework. They can work over winter breaks. They can work on the weekends. They can work at 2 a.m. if the mood hits them. So it's really something that I love our school. I love what we do. It is. And I think, honestly, Red, I think when kids move to the virtual world, it can be bumpy at first, right? It's kind of like any person when they've lived in a very restrictive environment and you turn 18 or you move off to college and you go wild because all of a sudden you don't have rules. Virtual can be challenging at first. It can be isolating. It can also be hard because they have to learn to be self-starters and self-motivated. But here's the thing, our kids that do virtual schooling, they've already got that amazing life skill down. And how valuable is the ability to problem solve and finish tasks by yourself without a teacher looming over you, or a boss or a manager? How valuable is that to the workspace and to the workforce? Because I promise you, most bosses will hire someone who is willing to be on time, who is willing to problem solve on their own and to not have to be babysat, that has less experience than someone who has to be babysat and they've got a piece of paper on their wall telling them that they're official. So I think that virtual school really does have some perks there, especially in the world we live in now. Everything is turning virtual, right? I mean, even my car drives itself because it's a computer. So I love what I do. My next live is Thursday. So tomorrow at 8 p.m. So tomorrow we will have what we call, this is Misfits Mornings. And Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Central, we do Misfit Meeting. I work for Insight School of Oklahoma. It's part of the K-12 network of schools. We don't have to do with the bullying. I love it. They are in, I think, every state in the U.S. So I love what I do. Melanie, where are you at? Where are you located? I'm in Oklahoma. Yes, the bullying is a big one. We have a lot of our student population that was bullied. Linda Lou, thank you so much for those likes. I appreciate you. I do. I have a 4 kiddos on my list. I'm looking over at my paper because I am of that age. Listen, I've got to have my paper notes. Do not take my notebook from me. It's like my safety blanket. Oh, okay. Yes, I have friends up in Wisconsin too. One of my friends, Melissa, that's on here. Yes, I love it. And I love, like, I also, a lot of times with students that have found ourselves here, their parents had the same experience when they were in school, right? So a lot of times the parents have their own trauma that you need to recognize. And I love when a parent reaches out. I just don't know what to do. Oh, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate you, Melanie. Oh, wait, did I invite you? I didn't mean to invite you. Ignore that. Don't do that. I was trying to follow you back. Bless it. Because I'm getting ready to get off here. I don't want to mess with you. Okay, follow back. There we go. I got you. Follow back, girl. Thank you for the heart of my noggin. My next live is Thursday night. And it's kind of one of those, it's not necessarily just where we're chatting and having coffee and doing work together, and we're body doubling right here, which is another technique for those of us that are neurodivergent. We get more work done if we've got somebody with us, okay? So if you have a teenager and they're a little bit on the ADHD or the autism spectrum, or they are just neurodivergent in their own glorious selves, and you tell them to clean their room, oh, Joshie, thank you, and you tell them to clean their room, listen, they understand the task, okay? They understand it. They want to be successful in the task you're giving them. But they walk up to that door of their room and their brain glitches out. It's called executive dysfunction. One of the best things that can happen that helps a lot of people with executive dysfunction to get the jump start that you need is something called body doubling, which is what I'm doing right here. It starts my mornings out great. I get to get in my spreadsheet. I'm super well organized for the day. And I promise you, because I've done this live for 45 minutes, I will have the most productive day because I've jump started my brain. I've gotten over the hiccup. Now, granted, I can't teach classes. I could teach classes with the lobster in my head. There are no rules. If you will just go sit with them and talk to them while they clean their room, they will get it done. Hello, Valerie. Or like with one of my kiddos, they're like, I don't know. They finally have gotten to where they'll go, I don't know where to start. Like, they look at the room and they understand the destination. They don't know how to get there. They're just overwhelmed. So like with her, she was cleaning her room. I said, okay, I want you to find all of the empty hangers that are on your floor. Okay, she did it. She understood the very simple baby step task. Got all the hangers. So then she came back to me, I've done all the hangers. I said, okay, pick up all of the dirty laundry that's in your closet floor. She said, okay. So she did it. Then she said, okay, it's done. What do I do? Okay, take that laundry basket, put it down the laundry chute from the second floor to the first floor. Okay. And then was there a little bit more work on my level as a manager? Yeah. I could have spent that energy fussing and fighting. Clean your room. I've told you to clean your room 85 times. Why aren't you cleaning your room? Clean your room, clean your room, clean your room, clean your room. And then you get mad and then you just start doing it yourself, right? And then you're resentful cleaning. Your kid didn't learn anything how to do it. But if I sit there and I spend that same energy instead of the fuss and fight, and I give her one step at a time, she's learning the steps. And over time, that helps that executive dysfunctioning. If I go sit up there with her, the body doubling. My house, I have to have cup collection day. Like, I've got yesterday's coffee cups still sitting here because I'm neurosparkly too. Probably why I do so great at my job. If somebody will come over, my best friend, who happens to live 4 hours away, but she also is my department head and works with me, we'll get on a Teams call together. Like, especially if we've got spreadsheets that we're having to do, we're not even necessarily talking to each other, but we'll be on a Teams call and we'll get so much work done because we're body doubling. Oh, Joshie, I would love that. Listen, my house is always a mess. There's 2 dogs. There's some feral children. The dogs are probably more well-behaved than the children. And you might open the door and find me in my bathrobe and lobster head. But I did find my eye mask, so we are doing better, which I need to go ahead and take them off. Boop, boop. I'll do makeup later, but I just don't have it on today. So listen, we went to bed late. Okay, listen, I got really involved in my book and stayed up past my bedtime. I know. But I am going to skedaddle off of here because I do need to start meeting with my students at 8:45. I also have to get my own 2 final ones to the school. But I will be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and we'll have our Misfits meeting. It's where we'll, if there is anything coming out from Red Aspen on Friday, because that's not always a thing, I'll probably give you a little preview of that. But really, it's just a chance to, thank you so much, Red. You too. It's a chance for you to see if there's anything coming out on Friday for Red Aspen, if you're a Red Aspen person. If not, it's a chance for you to kind of meet the team, like Josh and Lisa who've been in here, and Ellie. They're all on my Red Aspen team, or I'll say our Red Aspen team. We're called the Mani, like manicure, Misfits, because I love the line. First, I love the Isle of Misfit toys from the old movie. Again, if you know, you know. And I love the line in the Kelly Clarkson song, People Like Us, where it says we're all misfits living in a world on fire, because we all have those days, right? Terrell, you gorgeous human. Hello. Terrell's like, why is this lady in my feed that has a lobster on her head? Hello, Terrell. Terrell is one of my favorite humans. He is best friend to one of my favorite humans. And I had the pleasure of finally meeting Mr. Terrell in all of his glory when Sky and Vanessa got married. So, but I'm going to scoot off and go change my world for the better by getting to have the privilege of being the teacher to these gorgeous alternative eds kids. And I will see all of you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So if you are giving me a follow, make sure you click that little bell by my name and click all. That way you always get notified when I am live. And until then, like I end all of my classes, I'm going to tell you, remember, the world is better because you are in it.